Hey, y'all. It's been a while since the last episode of the podcast came out. I think it's been about roughly 3 months since I made an episode, and it was the Thanksgiving special. Um, yeah, there's not a lot to say about the time that's in between. I just got lazy and didn't feel like writing another episode. But I thought, with none the wiser and never better time than right now to do an episode. Why? Because I feel like it, that's why. And so I was always trying to wonder, what's another topic I could cover? And, I used to do a lot of topics based on school and, like, the life of, the place, like, the social life at the place I go to school at. But for some reason, everything just kind of mellowed out, you know? There's no more drug issues. At least to my knowledge, there's no more fights. I don't think I've heard another fight on school campus since like the beginning of this year, and it wasn't even a good one. It was actually a really mediocre one, and so things kind of mellowed out, and that's been a problem. I mean, if there's things mellowed out, I got nothing to really talk about, so I actually have to come up with something new to talk about. And so I've just kind of been busy as well in life, doing whatever I do, schoolwork and other extracurricular stuff, and just playing video games. Because, again, who doesn't enjoy playing video games? Unless you're Amish, which if you're Amish, you probably don't like any electricity anyways. I do believe, though, that the most dangerous people on the world, if they actually used electricity, would be the Amish. I have a slight feeling that they could rule the world, but they don't because they choose not to use, like, this like, ancient power. They would, like, start, their eyes would, like, zap up like Zeus, and they'd start, like, anyways. But no, I was thinking, what is a better time than now after the Oscar Awards have just been given out? A bunch of the movies, this year were, I should say last year, 2024, were not the greatest. I mean, you had Dune Part 2. That one was alright. I actually didn't see it, so I can't really speak on it. I know the Venom movie came out last year. That one was good. Craven, that came out. That was a pretty good movie. But all the movies that were actually nominated, I have never heard of, nor have I ever seen. I think the only movie I saw, that was nominated that I actually somewhat knew of was Dune. Everything else, it was just kind of beyond me. I was very, very unsure on what was going on. But it made me think. I was like, man, there was a time, of course, back in God knows when movies were actually good. Now, I'm not saying the movies that came out last year were bad. I just haven't seen any of them. And again, like I said, I wasn't expecting them to be any good. Just because, again, over the past few years, post 2020, after a certain event that swept across the whole world, after that kind of event, I felt like movies actually kind of stopped being good. I mean, they're not bad, but they're not great. You know, and so I was like, man, there were some good movies back that I used to watch, and one that I can really think of right now is I actually watched it over the summer, and of course you can it's a good movie, but of course anyone that watches it, it can be very confusing. But I actually went and watched No Country for Old Men. It was on my flight to Ireland, which was awesome. That was a fun trip. But back to the movie stuff. So yeah, I watched No Country for Old Men. Really good movie. Really good movie. The acting was amazing. Storytelling was amazing. And they made the characters memorable. I mean, I can't really tell you a lot of movies that make like characters memorable anymore. They're just characters almost. They don't feel like And so I actually do remember. There was the guy that played Anton Chigurh. I can't think of. Let me look it up. Javier Bardem. He played Anton Chigurh, known in that movie. And if you don't know who Anton Chigurh is, he's the murderer in that movie. And you've definitely seen his look before. Definitely. And I definitely. I was talking to a friend about this, and I was like, if honestly this man came pulling up to me. He's actually going to be on the thumbnail, so if you didn't know who that is, that's Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men. But the facial expressions in that movie were really good, but one scene just really got me with the facial expressions. Again, it's the thumbnail. But, like, the thing that I really thought was, like, I think about it now is with Anton Chigurh, if he was coming after me with that fucking haircut, I don't think I'd be afraid. And that's what I think a lot of people in the movie were like. They weren't really afraid of him because that fucking haircut was awful. And I'm not saying like anything bad on the movie. That is not an attack on the movie. It's an amazing movie, but I just thought, man, that haircut is fucking atrocious. And this man's supposed to be the scariest person here, and that's his fucking haircut. Granted, the writing of the movie was amazing, and the guy that plays Anton Chigurh is again an amazing actor. I wish he actually got a lot more acting, throughout the years. But I mean, one performance as well is really freaking good. Um, I guess we'll go back to the past. Some really, really good movies back in the past. Star Wars. Those are some great movies. Definitely the first original three, the original trilogy. New Hope, Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, stuff like that. Those three were really good. The prequels were also really good, but they definitely were different than what I think a lot of people were used to. But I still really liked them, especially with I think it's Christopher Lee who plays what's his name? Yeah, he plays Count Dooku. Amazing. He did an amazing job at Count Dooku. Everyone in that movie did an amazing job. Uh, the guy who plays Obi-Wan, I can't ever get his name right, so I'm not even going to attempt it. Did an amazing job at Obi-Wan. And I really think the originals, Star Wars, the prequels, and the original trilogy was really good. Then you get to the sequels, and then that's when you get sent to the shill mouse Mickey, who absolutely runs your studio into the ground, and that's exactly what they did with those the sequels. And they really sucked. They weren't awful. Like they weren't like I won't lie. I kind of enjoyed a few of them, but I think Last Skywalker kind of just ruined it for me because it felt like a piece of shit. Because it was a piece of shit. But yeah, the original Star Wars, amazing movies. I think they did a great job with them. Now, of course, there's other movies like Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones. If obviously I've never said it before, but I am a huge Harrison Ford fan. I love his acting. He is an amazing actor. He did an amazing job in Star Wars as Han Solo, and obviously, as you know, though, he really did not like that. He did not like George Lucas in the slightest. Um, but he definitely felt, if I remember correctly, like he loved Indiana Jones a lot more than he did Star Wars, and he did a damn good job. In Indiana Jones. I mean, seriously, I used to watch those movies on repeat. I'd watch the first three, because the fourth one at the time. Okay, so I'll continue this story in a second. So, I used to watch the first three on repeat, and then of course the fourth one, I wasn't a huge fan of because you just went from like all this like religious supernatural stuff that actually kind of made sense to aliens and crystal skulls. And that movie just it was so weird to me, and I did not really like it. Of course, the second movie, I guess you could say the same with like whatever the hell they had going on there with like heart sacrifices and whatnot. But I don't know. The second movie was also really good, but you get to the fourth movie, and this of course was at the time back in like 2020. So of course, again, I was rewatching those movies up to that point, and then I was like, man, it would be so awesome if they came out with another Indiana Jones movie. And as if I wished it into existence, 2020, they announced that they were going to be releasing a new Indiana Jones movie roughly around 2025. That was their rough estimate, and then of course as the years came closer, they actually shortened it down to 2023. Indiana Jones 5 would be coming to theaters in 2023. How fucking cool. I was so stoked to go see it. I was so happy, because again, Harrison Ford, loved that guy, amazing actor. And so we... So me and a group of friends, I think there was three of my friends and we went to the movie theaters. And on the first day we went to go see it, we're sitting there and we're waiting. 15 minutes go by. All right, no movie. And then, of course, they're like, hey, sorry, the movie's not going to play, so go home. We'll give you guys a refund. And we're like, okay, cool, awesome, lovely. Honestly, that was actually a blessing that we just didn't realize at the time. It was actually like an omen of sorts to tell us to, go and not come back, but we decided, maybe the next week we'll come back and watch the movie. So, of course, the very next week, we come back to the same movie theater, buy our tickets, and this time the movie actually is, they're able to play the movie. I don't know why they weren't able to play it the other time, but we're able to watch the movie this time. Good. Two of my friends fell asleep during the movie. And honestly, that's not really surprising. The movie had an awful storyline, time travel, and all that. Like, again, it just seems so out of pocket and all that. And I would also like to, again, point out that this franchise, of course, was partially ruined by the big company themselves, Disney Entertainment. They fucking suck when they pick up a franchise. The franchises are fine, or I don't know if they're franchises or what, but like Star Wars and Indiana Jones was fine, and then for some reason, Disney had to come in and be like, let's put our own little spin on things, and it fucking sucks. And again, people put it up to the actors, and it's not the actor's fault. Like, again, the lady that plays Rey, again, I don't remember her name. It wasn't her fault that the movie sucked. No, it's the screenwriters and the people that wrote the stuff, the story. Like, that sucks. Those people suck at their jobs because they can't fucking write a decent story. And so that was kind of what ruined, both those franchises for me. I was not happy. Those franchises actually kind of suck now. They still do. Star Wars has very little going on for it, and Indiana Jones is actually put in the grave now. There will never be another Indiana Jones movie. So, it's truly unfortunate how we've gotten to that point. But enough of that rambling about bad movies. Let's go on to another movie series that, again, as a kid, I used to binge watch and continue binge watching. I would watch and watch and watch and restart the whole series over and over again because it was so damn good. And that series was Pirates of the Caribbean. Johnny Depp is an amazing actor. And he did nothing wrong. Fuck you, Amber Heard. You are a lying bitch. Anyways, Johnny Depp is an amazing actor. He did an amazing job in almost all the other movies. One movie, though, that I would like to point out that some people don't know that it's Johnny Depp is Willy Wonka, the 2005 Willy Wonka. The guy that plays Willy Wonka is Johnny Depp. It does not look like Johnny Depp. You would have never believed it. And so, anyways, back on with Johnny Depp, Pirates of the Caribbean. It was an amazing movie. The first one was amazing. Second one is the best. No, not the best in the series. It is probably one of the best. Third one, best in the series. Amazing storytelling. Amazing characters in the movie. I mean, you had Davy Jones, Beckett, Johnny, Jack Sparrow, like all of them, in the same movie. And it was an amazing storyline, amazing plot line. And the ending, of course, was really good. The fourth one can be debated. It can be seen as a good and a bad movie. That is really up to your opinion. I think it's an alright movie. I don't think it's actually that bad. I think that Blackbeard is a pretty cool character. He's definitely portrayed pretty cool. And I think they definitely did a good job with that. And I just really think that Johnny Depp is an amazing actor, and that the people that, made Pirates of the Caribbean, which I can't remember off the top. Was it Spielberg? I don't really remember. Oh, it was... Okay, so this one, actually, if I remember correctly, was Disney when it first came out. Still is Disney. And I will admit, Dead Man Tell No Tales, the 2017 movie, the fifth movie in the installment, was not fantastic. Definitely wasn't bad. I definitely liked it a lot less than some of the other movies. That's no doubt. But I think what also made it somewhat good was Javier Bardem, the guy that played Anton Chigurh in No Country for Old Men, actually played Salazar, the main villain in this movie. And so that actually was really cool. Javier Bardem plays an amazing villain role. He's an amazing actor when it comes to villains. I definitely think Pirates of the Caribbean 5 could have been better, but it could have been a lot worse than a lot of people put it up to be. Um, Another fun fact is that Paul McCartney was apparently in Pirates of the Caribbean. I did not know this. I don't know how I didn't know this, but yeah, apparently Paul McCartney was in the fifth Pirates of the Caribbean, and he might have been in some other ones. I don't remember, but I am looking at the cast list for the fifth one, and it says Paul McCartney, so that's pretty cool if you guys are fans of the Beatles. Um, yeah, no, Pirates of the Caribbean, great movie, but I'm going to pivot from movies. Because, why talk about just movies when there's another thing you could talk about? Why not music? Now, I'm going to say this right now. I'm not a huge fan of current modern day music, especially like the rap music and all that. I'm not a huge fan of that. It just doesn't, it doesn't sound great to me. Obviously, that may not be the same for you guys, but it just doesn't sit right, you know? And no, it's not because I'm a racist. I'm not a racist. I just don't like rap music. But the kind of music that I really like, we'll go with Pink Floyd. I mean, Pink Floyd definitely had some amazing albums in their time. Granted, every band has some more than questionable album performances. I know Division Bell was not a good album. This is true. Not a great album, but Pink Floyd had some of the best albums that ever really hit the floor. I mean, The Wall, amazing. Dark Side of the Moon, amazing. Wish You Were Here is such a good album. I really like it. In fact, a lot of people back when Oppenheimer and Barbie were coming out were using Wish You Were Here as like the template, the album cover as a template for the Barbie movie and Oppenheimer movie. It was really cool. And Pink Floyd has definitely had a huge influence over everyone through over the years. Uh, Another personal favorite of mine, who I don't really know if they're touring anymore nowadays. I know they were supposed to be done, but I think I saw something about them doing a few here and there. The Eagles, really good band. Had Joe Walsh. And a lot of these names may not sound familiar to any of the viewers because I am having a feeling that some of you are younger, roughly my age, which I'm not that old, but at the same time, some of these names obviously probably aren't familiar. But Joe Walsh was an amazing singer, and he was also an amazing, I think he was guitar player. I don't know what kind of guitar, I can't remember. I think it might have been bass. I don't know. Anyways, you had Joe Walsh, Don Henley, amazing performer. He has a great voice. He's amazing on the drums. Trying to think of the other ones on there. His name was Glenn Frey. Glenn Frey was amazing in the Eagles, and then there's one more I'm forgetting, and it really hurts to forget because again they were all really good. Trying to think of another good band. Obviously, they have a way different style than a few of the bands that I just talked about, but Metallica, they have some good music, and guess what? They're in Fortnite, so therefore they have to be a good band. Obviously, that's true because, again, you got Hatsune Miku, and, apparently Hatsune Miku's music is pretty good too, so therefore, you have to be a good band to be in Fortnite, so, Metallica's a good band. Of course, you got Queen. They were, of course, like some of the best. Again, always say that for all of them, but yeah, you got Bohemian Rhapsody, probably one of the more common songs that a lot of people know. And they had some amazing music. And then, of course, Freddie Mercury passed away, and that's unfortunate, it's really sad. Especially when it's like someone that you really were like a fan of with their music and so on and so forth when you find out they passed away. Granted, Freddie Mercury passed away before I was even born, so yeah, that's a whole different story, I guess. Elton John has some really good music. So fun fact, I don't remember the transactional of trades, but I think Eminem, yeah. So I remember I think I remember it, but Eminem received a diamond cock ring from Elton John, which is crazy. I mean, this thing has diamonds, so it's a cock ring with diamonds. That's pretty fucking expensive. So that's pretty damn cool. trying to think of what else. Elton John, yep, just said him. Uh, ELO, also known as, or well, I should say, Electric Light Orchestra, also known as ELO. Amazing music. I feel like they really did a good job using, a lot more like synthetic music, I guess you would call it. They're more, yeah, they're not like the typical music of the time that they were around. Toto, they have some good music. Toto has some good music. Eric Clapton was an amazing singer. I don't know if he still does singing. Hell, I don't even know if he's still alive anymore. Steve Miller Band, that dude's like 82 years old, maybe 83. Yeah, I think he turns 83 this year in 2025. And he still sings like he was singing back in the 70s. Like, this dude is fucking insane. He's got a voice on him, and he can still continue to sing. And fun fact about Steve Miller, I guess, more a personal story of mine. So I actually got to go see one of the Eagles' final concerts back in 2023. It was they're called The Long Goodbye. And so I got to go see that one, and I went and saw it with my grandmother, and it was an experience that I'll never forget. It was an amazing performance from the Eagles, and they did an amazing job. But as you know, if you've ever been to a concert, they usually have another band there to perform before the show. So, in fact, it was actually supposed to be Steely Dan performing. Steely Dan was supposed to perform at this concert, which, if you know, he did, trying to think off the top of my head, he did, oh gosh, why can't I think of any Steely Dan songs? Oh boy. He did a few good songs. He has a really good voice as well. I should say the whole group. I mean, the whole group's a good group. Do It Again. That's like one of their most popular songs, Do It Again, by Steely Dan. So that band was supposed to perform at the concert. And then, of course, he got sick. These guys are old. Like, every member of these bands, like Steely Dan, the Eagles, and oh my gosh, why can't Steve Miller? They're all like in their 70s or 80s. A lot of the original band members as well aren't surviving anymore, and it's really sad because, again, all this original music is amazing, and it would have been amazing to be back there when they were performing it. But yeah, so Steely Dan, he got sick, and if you're sick at the age that he is, you're not going to be able to perform. All right, so they obviously had to find a replacement. And who else were they going to find to replace? You could have, gotten some B-list, C-list, No. They go out, and they were able to convince Steve Miller to perform that night in Indiana. And he's from around the Midwest. He's actually, I think, from Illinois or Indiana. He's one of those two states. And so he was just happened to be in town, I guess, and he said, hell yeah, I'll perform with you guys. So, of course, I get to the concert. I didn't actually hear about the change at the time. So I kept thinking Steely Dan's going to perform, and then Steve Miller walks on the stage, and I'm like, what the hell? Why is Steve Miller here? I thought they said Steely Dan. That's when, they did their announcement. But, I love Steely Dan's music. He's got some good music. But I'll tell you right now, Steve Miller gave one hell of a performance that night for being 82 years old. And again, somehow he can still fucking sing. You would think after singing all those years, your voice would be shot. Nope. He kept singing, and he sang like an amazing man. So the cool thing about this, though, is it was another monumental thing in the world of rock and roll that year. That was the 50th anniversary of The Joker by the Steve Miller Band. I actually got to see, hear and see Steve Miller. Keep saying Steely Dan. Steve Miller performed The Joker on their 50th anniversary. So again, a really cool performance that was amazing, and I've actually never forgotten. Another good band, Guns N' Roses. They have some good music. They've definitely got some. November Rain is really good. I definitely love that one. Here's a curveball, MF Doom. I know I talked shit about rap, but for some reason, MF Doom definitely's got something going for him. I don't know if people consider him rap. I think they do. but he definitely had a good voice on him, and he had amazing rhythm and everything to his music. Unfortunately, he passed away, so it would still be amazing if he continued to perform to the like make music to this day. But like I said, unfortunately, he passed away. Van Halen, they had some pretty good music, of course, back in the day. Some of these bands, like obviously people probably would have never heard of. I mean, okay, Aerosmith. They're the people that made Dream On. Come on, they have some pretty damn good music. Definitely, uh, yeah. I don't know what to say about it. They just have some really good music. Pearl Jam, Even Flow, really good song. It's you just thinking about it sometimes. You're over here going down the highway and you're just like, even flow, some shit like that. I don't know. Great song. But I'll tell you this right now. I think that the one thing I've understood throughout these years is that music is truly an amazing thing. It does bring communities together. Sometimes it brings you apart. I'm looking at you, K-pop, because for some reason you just like to berate anyone that doesn't like your music, and you'll like threaten to euthanize them, which is wild. But yeah, no, definitely like genres of music definitely bring people together, and it helps you meet new people and so on and so forth. Of course, the only people I'm meeting, since all my music is older, is I'm meeting people in their 60s who have been retired, and they're like, oh yeah, I remember when I was your age. This kind of music was just coming out back on vinyl. I didn't have no CDs or cassette tapes. None of that. I didn't have no internet. And I'm like, oh, yeah, really? Huh? Ain't that something? And they're like, yep. Anyways, you have a good one. Usually the people that listen to this kind of music are the nicest people I've ever met, primarily because they're older. And older people are pretty fucking chill depending on where you go. However, I'll of course go into probably another episode. The service industry. I actually work service industry. I'm a barista at my local coffee shop. I know, such hard work. But I have some interesting stories. They're definitely the crazy ones. You deal with crazy customers all the time, but that'll be for a different episode. But yeah, like what I was saying is like music and movies. Movies as well. Like I know a lot of movies, people will be drawn together by the movies. I remember, like, of course, when the new Star Wars were coming out, granted they were awful, brought a lot of newer generation and older generation together. And the same with Indiana Jones. I remember going to see that, and there were definitely a bunch of people around. No, I wouldn't say a bunch. The movie theaters weren't that packed, primarily because the movie fucking sucked. But, I remember seeing an assortment of age ranges in there because that's just, the thing. A lot of people grew up with Indiana Jones, at my age, but a lot of people also literally grew up with Indiana Jones. He came out when they were being kids. So, I definitely think the world of, like, movie culture and all that is definitely gone to shit. Same with music. I feel like sometimes music artists just kind of try to go the easy way nowadays, and maybe that could be said about back then too, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just too biased at this point. All I will say is Taylor Swift's music fucking sucks. It's not that great, and I don't understand why she's so loved by all the people. She's a questionably moral person, but her music is just not that great, you know? And so I'm just gonna leave it at that. I can't really think of more to say other than, yeah, her music fucking sucks. It's always about a breakup or something, and if it's not about a breakup, it's kind of just stupid. So, I thank you all for watching and listening into the podcast today. It's been a while since I've uploaded this, so thank you for watching, if you've just been watching. Oh, I should say listening, because if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this on Spotify, if you're listening to this on Spotify, there ain't much there. But if you're watching this on YouTube, it is literally a black screen, so thank you for listening to this podcast. Yeah, I hope you guys have a good one. Peace.